Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell y'all something straight from the heart. Stop trying to impress everybody. Stop trying to explain your journey. Stop trying to get validation from people who ain't never built nothing. Focus on yourself and stay silent. You see, one of the biggest mistakes I made in my early years, and trust me, I made plenty, was thinking I had to announce every little move I made. I thought everybody had to clap for me before I took the next step. But life don't work like that. People don't always applaud when you're rising. They'll cheer when you're winning, but not when you're grinding. Here's the truth, the grind is private, the success is public. When I was homeless, sleeping in my car, I wasn't broadcasting my pain to the world. I was focused, quiet, grinding. I was keeping my head down and my faith up. And when the phone call came that changed my life, when I got that shot at the Apollo, I didn't post it. I showed up. You gotta understand, God don't need your updates. He needs your obedience, while you out here trying to prove something, trying to let people know you bout to blow up. You're losing the energy you need to actually become what you say. Let your actions be the noise. You ain't gotta tell people what's coming. Let them be shocked when it arrives. So I say this. Focus on your craft, your spirit, your health, your goals. And when life tries to distract you with gossip, jealousy, noise, tune it out. Silence is power. Privacy is protection. Growth is quiet. Keep building behind the scenes, because when God's ready to show the world what He's been doing in your life, there won't be no hiding it. Stay humble. Stay hungry. Stay quiet, and let your life do the talking. Move in silence. When in public, there's a difference between talking about the journey and actually walking it. Some folks get addicted to announcing every little move, and they confuse motion with progress. They think if they tell enough people they're working, it somehow replaces actually doing the work. But real ones, they stay low. They disappear into the grind and don't reappear until the job is done. When you're building something real, you don't need to convince anyone. You're not asking for permission. You're not looking for validation. You're chasing a calling that came from within, not applause from the outside. That's why silence is such a powerful force, because it's where your focus lives, where your grit forms, and where your fire grows. Silence lets you build in peace. It shields your dream from doubt, keeps it away from the hands of people who would mishandle it. When you're quiet about your goals, people can't kill them early. They can't weigh you down with fear or jealousy or sideways comments that steal your energy. Everybody doesn't need to know what you're doing. Because half the people who claim to support you are really just watching to see if you fail. They're not clapping for you. They're waiting for the crash. That's why you keep it quiet. That's why you let them assume nothing's happening while you're laying brick after brick. You'll notice this. When people don't know what you're working on, they can't throw distractions at you. They can't get in the way. They can't copy what they can't see. And when you finally reveal the finished product, it hits harder. It shocks them. It silences every critic in the room. There's a type of satisfaction that comes from achieving something and knowing you didn't have to broadcast your struggle to get there. You didn't have to beg for recognition. You just stayed locked in, head down, heart up, hands moving. Most people want the applause before the performance, but champions understand that the standing ovation comes after the curtain drops, not before. You earn your respect in the shadows, not in the spotlight. The ones who endure the silence, who embrace the solitude, they're the ones who dominate when the moment arrives. Every time you feel tempted to post it, to brag about it, to announce it, pause. Ask yourself, is this for growth or is this for ego? Is this helping my mission or distracting me from it? Because real elevation doesn't need an audience. It needs discipline. It's better to be underestimated than overhyped. Because when people think you're not doing anything, you've already won. You've removed the pressure. You've silenced the noise. Now it's just you and the grind. Nothing more, nothing less. You don't need to explain yourself to anyone. You don't owe anybody a play-by, play of your progress. Your energy belongs to your mission, not to other people's opinions. Every second you spend trying to impress is a second you're not using to improve. The most powerful thing you can do is surprise people with who you've become. Show up as the version of you they never expected. The version that went to war in the dark, came back sharpened, and now walks in purpose. That's how you win, and when that moment comes, when the world finally sees what you've been building in silence, there's no need for arrogance. Just stand there, grounded, and let the results speak for themselves. You don't have to say a word when your life is already talking loud. Success is quiet in the beginning and loud in the end. That's the formula. That's the rhythm. That's the order of things. Get it out of order, and you confuse noise for greatness. Keep it in order, and your legacy will echo longer than any speech. You were never meant to broadcast the blueprint. You were meant to build it, brick by brick, in silence, with faith and fire in your heart. When the structure is finished, they'll ask how you did it. But by then, you'll be too busy building the next one. Don't share dreams with small-minded people. One of the fastest ways to kill a dream is to share it with someone who doesn't have the capacity to receive it. Not everybody is meant to hear what God put in your spirit. Not everyone has the vision to see what you see. Some people only understand what they can touch. And if they can't touch it, they'll try to tear it down. Stop expecting support from folks who have never built anything. They don't understand risk. They don't understand purpose. And they definitely don't understand vision. So when you tell them your goals, all they hear is fear. And they project that fear onto you, not because they're evil, but because they're limited. See, small-minded people ain't necessarily bad people. Some of them mean well. They think they're protecting you. They think they're giving you realistic advice. But what they're really doing is measuring your dream against their own insecurities. They're not judging your idea. They're reacting to their own ceiling. That's why you gotta be careful who you talk to when the idea is still young. Because dreams are fragile in the beginning. They need protection. They need nurturing. It's like planting a seed. If you plant it in rocky soil, it won't grow. If you put it in the hands of someone who steps on it, it'll die before it ever has a chance to sprout. You ever notice how some people laugh when you talk about your goals? That laugh ain't innocent. That laugh is the sound of someone who gave up on themselves trying to get you to do the same. They don't even realize it, but they're speaking from their own brokenness. They're not encouraging you. They're projecting their failure. That's why silence is golden when you're working on something big. You don't need 50 opinions. You don't need a round table. You need faith, work, and a few people who believe without needing proof. If you ain't got that, go solo until God sends the right voices. Every level of your dream has a version of you that must be built first. And the person you're becoming is gonna make a lot of people uncomfortable, especially the ones who were content with average. When you start growing, they'll call it arrogance. When you start winning, they'll say you changed, and you did. You were supposed to. You're not supposed to stay small to make other people feel secure. You're not supposed to shrink just so they can breathe easier. Your growth should challenge them. Your success should stretch them. But that only happens if you protect the vision long enough for it to bloom. Some people need to see fruit before they believe in the seed. That ain't your crowd. You need to be around folks who can see the orchard when you're still holding a shovel. People who say, "Let's get to work." Not, "Are you sure about this?" That's your circle. That's your energy. Be selective with your dream like it's a diamond, because it is, and not everybody deserves to hold it. Some folks will drop it, laugh at it, or try to pawn it for cheap attention. Protect your brilliance. Keep it in your spirit until it's strong enough to stand on its own. The people who don't get it now are the same ones who'll be asking how you did it later. Let them wonder, let them talk, let them doubt. It's not your job to explain your calling to someone who ain't dialed in. You weren't called to convince, you were called to build. Some dreams are so big they scare the dreamer. Imagine how they look to someone who's never even tried. You can't ask blind folks to describe the view. You can't ask those who quit on themselves to give you advice on how to win. It don't work like that. Trust your gut. Protect your dream. Keep your head down. Stay in the lab and let your success be the final answer. You don't owe small-minded people a single explanation. You owe your future your full attention, nothing less. Silence protects progress. There's a season in your life where the best thing you can do is hush. Not because you're scared, not because you're unsure, but because silence is the armor that protects your progress. It keeps distractions out and discipline in. That quiet space, that's where growth takes root. The world has a noise addiction. Everybody talking, everybody posting, everybody trying to prove something. But while they're out there performing for approval, the ones who understand success are behind the scenes, in the shadows, working in peace. That silence, that's their sanctuary. When you stay silent, you don't just protect your ideas. You protect your energy. Every time you speak on something prematurely, you open the door for outside energy to enter. Doubt can walk in. Jealousy can walk in. Questions that don't belong in your spirit can walk in. But when your mouth is closed, your mind stays clean. Progress is delicate. It ain't loud. It's not glamorous in the beginning. It's repetition, it's routine, it's uncomfortable. And when people see it too early, they either criticize it or try to copy it. That's why you keep it to yourself, because silence allows your process to mature before it's exposed to the world. You ever tell someone what you're working on and suddenly lose motivation? That's not a coincidence, that's a spiritual leak. You gave away the fire before it was strong enough to survive on its own. Silence keeps the fire internal, burning, building, growing, and let me tell you, there's power in people underestimating you. When they think you ain't doing nothing, you get to work with zero pressure. No eyes on you, no judgment. Just you, your grind, and your God. That's a freedom most people will never experience because they're too busy explaining instead of executing. Silence also gives you room to change your mind. See, once you announce something, now you've got pride in the way. Now you feel stuck in a plan that might not even serve you anymore. But if you stayed quiet, you can shift, pivot, grow, and evolve without an audience watching every move. You don't owe anybody access to your unfinished work. You don't have to announce every win or every plan. Your journey is sacred, your goals are private, and when you treat them like something holy, they grow with strength, not stress. Noise attracts noise, but silence attracts clarity. When you eliminate the pressure to speak, you make room to listen, to your instincts, to your creator, to your calling. You begin to move with precision, not popularity. You begin to build with purpose, not pride, and the truth is, most people are watching for the wrong reasons anyway. They ain't watching to learn. They're watching to doubt, to gossip, to critique. You don't need that in your space. You need peace. You need focus. You need silence that fuels execution. You don't see trees growing. You don't hear mountains forming. You don't hear gold being refined. All those things happen in stillness. Quietly, powerfully. That's the kind of growth you want. The kind that don't need to shout. It just shows up and changes the landscape. You can't build a legacy if you're always broadcasting a lifestyle. The two don't mix. Legacy is built when the lights are off, when you're tired but still going, when nobody's clapping but you're still pushing. That's where the real magic happens, in the dark, in the silence. There's a reason champions train in silence. There's a reason the caterpillar hides before it becomes a butterfly. Transformation requires isolation. You're becoming something, and becoming demands privacy. So if it feels lonely, good. That means you're in the right place. If it feels quiet, perfect. That means you're focused. Don't try to fill the silence. Let it shape you. Let it mold you. Let it protect you. Because when it's time for the world to see what you've built, you'll be ready. And you won't need to say a word. Not everyone deserves access to you. You've got to start treating your time, your mind, your spirit like premium real estate. Because that's exactly what it is. You are not for everybody. You weren't made to be constantly available. Just because somebody calls doesn't mean you have to answer. Just because they knock doesn't mean you gotta open the door. Access is a privilege, not a right. Let that settle in your soul. Too many people are drained not because they're weak, but because they're too available. They've been giving VIP passes to folks who ain't even supposed to be in general admission. That kind of generosity will leave you spiritually bankrupt. Some folks only show up when they need something. They don't call to check on you. They don't clap for you. They don't build with you, but let them need a favor. Suddenly your phone ringing. Suddenly you important. Don't fall for that trap. That ain't loyalty. That's leeching. You gotta look at your circle and ask yourself, are these people feeding me or are they feeding on me? Because there's a difference. One helps you grow, the other drains you dry. And if you don't learn how to separate the two, you'll waste your strength trying to save people who were never meant to sit at your table. There comes a point in life where you have to choose between being liked and being respected. If you keep letting people use you just to avoid conflict, you're not being kind. You're being careless with your gift. And your gift is too important for that. Your mission is too serious to be diluted by distractions. Elevation requires isolation. When you're on your way up, you can't carry everybody with you. Some folks gotta get off at the last stop. They weren't built for the altitude. The air is different where you're headed, and not everyone can breathe where you're going. Let that sink in. There are people in your life right now who are connected to the old version of you. They knew the one who played small, who people pleased, who bent over backward to be accepted, but you ain't that person no more. You've grown, you've healed, you've outgrown certain conversations, certain habits, certain people. And that's not arrogance. That's evolution. You don't have to apologize for protecting your peace. You don't owe guilt to people who don't respect your boundaries. It's okay to love people from a distance. It's okay to wish them well without inviting them in. When you were in survival mode, you couldn't afford to be selective. You needed whoever showed up. But now that you're walking in purpose, you can't afford to be careless. Your time is valuable, your energy is expensive, your peace is non-negotiable. You need to start auditing your relationships. Who brings clarity, who brings confusion, who leaves you drained, who leaves you inspired. Stop ignoring those signs. They're not accidents. They're indicators. And if you keep silencing your intuition, you'll stay stuck where you were supposed to break free. You're not cold. You're focused. You're not rude. You're reserved. You're not distant. You're discerning. There's a difference between being hard and having standards. And at this point in your life, if people can't respect your growth, they can't respect your space. You'll find that when you raise your standards, the wrong people fall away. Let them. That's not rejection. That's alignment. That's life making room for better connections, deeper relationships, and stronger partnerships. Don't fight what's trying to bless you with peace. This journey you're on requires clarity, and clarity doesn't come from crowds. It comes from quiet, from time alone, from protecting your environment. You don't build a mansion on shaky ground, and you don't build purpose surrounded by chaos. Tighten your circle, sharpen your focus. There's power in selective access. Not everyone should be able to reach you. Not everyone deserves to influence you. Some people had a season, not a lifetime. Let their chapter end. You've got a story to finish. And it's too important to be edited by people who don't understand the plot. Let faith fuel your patience. Patience ain't weakness. It's a superpower, but it only becomes powerful when it's fueled by faith. Because see, if you're just waiting with no belief, that's not patience, that's frustration wearing a mask. Real patience says, I may not see it yet, but I know it's coming. So I'll keep walking like it's already mine. You gotta trust the process, even when the progress ain't loud. You gotta believe in the promise, even when the path don't make sense. Sometimes God delays a thing not to deny you, but to develop you. He's not withholding it from you. He's preparing it for you, and more importantly, He's preparing you for it. The biggest mistake people make is quitting 5 minutes before the breakthrough. You'll see it over and over. Folks get tired, discouraged, or distracted and give up when they were one decision away from everything shifting. They lacked the one thing that separates the blessed from the bitter faithful patience. See, when you move in faith, you don't panic over time. You don't chase success like it's running from you. You work, you grind, but you trust. You plant your seed and water it daily, knowing that harvest season never skips the faithful. It might delay, but it never skips. You're not behind, you're not late. You're in development, and development takes time. Nobody looks at a foundation being laid and says, where's the mansion? But in life, we do it all the time. We want results before the foundation is secure. That's why things fall apart, because we rushed it. If you don't learn patience, you'll destroy what was meant to bless you. You'll force things that weren't ready. You'll try to open doors that require a key called maturity. And when the storm hits, you won't be rooted deep enough to stand. Patience protects your progress from premature exposure. Sometimes the wait is the test. The delay isn't punishment, it's preparation. God wants to know, will you keep showing up even when it feels like nothing's happening? Will you keep believing even when the answer is not yet? Will you keep moving even when the road is quiet? That's where your character gets shaped, in the waiting room, in the silent season. That's where your focus gets sharpened, your self-control gets tested, your humility gets checked. It ain't glamorous, but it's necessary. Because if you can master the wait, you'll master the win. Stop watching the clock and start watching your heart. Stop comparing your timeline to someone else's highlight reel. Your journey is yours. Your blessing has your name on it. Nobody can take what's assigned to you unless you forfeit it through fear, doubt, or impatience. You gotta treat every delay like it's divine, every not yet, like it's not without preparation, because what's coming is big. And big blessings require strong shoulders. You're not just waiting, you're building, you're strengthening, you're preparing your soul to hold what's coming. You ever notice how the greatest things in life take time? Diamonds, skyscrapers, real character. It all takes time. That's not a flaw. That's the design. And if you rush the process, you rob yourself of the strength that was supposed to come with the success. Patience isn't passive, it's active trust. Every time you show up and do the work, even when you don't feel like it, you're expressing faith. Every time you keep a good attitude when life says wait, you're honoring the process. That's the kind of energy that unlocks favor. You can't microwave greatness. You can't fast track purpose. You've got to sit in it, grow in it, wait through it, trust that it's all adding up, even when it looks like nothing's moving. Because faith don't need proof. It needs obedience. Faithful patience is what makes your character worth following. It's what separates leaders from followers, warriors from warriors. And once you've walked through a season of waiting without losing your fire, you become unstoppable. Because now you know what it means to trust when the road is silent. Protect your energy at all costs. Your energy is your currency. It fuels your focus, it directs your drive, and it sets the tone for everything you touch. When your energy is off, your whole world gets cloudy. You lose clarity, you lose peace, and you start reacting instead of responding. That's why protecting it isn't optional. It's survival. Everybody wants access to your light, but not everybody deserves your flame. Some folks only show up when you're shining, but they're nowhere to be found when you're dim. They love the warmth, but they don't bring fuel. And if you're not careful, they'll drain your power and leave you wondering why you feel so empty. Protecting your energy means learning to say no without guilt. Not every opportunity is for you. Not every invitation deserves a response. Just because it looks good doesn't mean it's aligned with your spirit. And if peace is the price, it's too expensive. You can't afford to keep giving your best to things that don't pour back into you. You weren't put here to be everybody's battery charger. You've got a purpose too. And if all your energy is being used to carry other people, you'll never have the strength to build what you're called to build. Watch who you let in your space. Watch what conversations you entertain. Watch what you consume mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Every word, every vibe, every atmosphere either builds you or breaks you. You've got to become the gatekeeper of your soul. That means checking yourself too. Sometimes you're the one draining your own energy by overthinking, second guessing, replaying past failures, or staying stuck in places you've outgrown. Protecting your energy isn't just about people. It's about patterns. You've got to audit your own behavior too. There are folks who can smile in your face and poison your spirit at the same time. That's why discernment is key. Not everyone who claps is cheering for you. Some are just close enough to keep tabs. Keep your eyes open, not in fear, but in wisdom. Energy vampires are real. They come dressed as family, friends, coworkers, even your own thoughts. But the moment you start prioritizing your peace, you'll spot them quicker. The moment you stop tolerating chaos, they start revealing themselves. That's not negativity, that's clarity. You've got to stop apologizing for choosing peace. You've got to stop explaining your boundaries. Growth is noisy for people who benefit from your silence. They don't like it when you protect yourself because they were feeding off your unprotected space. But you ain't their source. You can be kind and still have standards. You can be loving and still say no. You can be generous and still have limits. Boundaries don't make you mean. They make you wise. And at this stage of your life, you don't need to prove anything to anybody. You need to preserve your power. Protecting your energy also means taking care of your body. Rest when you need to. Eat with intention. Move with purpose. Don't wait until you're burned out to start healing. Don't wait until your body breaks down to start paying attention. This vessel is your engine. Don't run it into the ground. It's not selfish to protect your energy. It's strategic. Because when your energy is strong, your vision gets clearer. Your moves get sharper. Your purpose becomes louder. But when you're drained, even the simplest decision feels heavy. You can't pour from an empty soul. You were designed to thrive, not just survive. But thriving requires intention. It requires boundaries. It requires silence, focus, rest, faith, and honesty. You can't fake your way into alignment. You've got to choose it daily. That's the discipline behind protecting your energy. You don't owe anyone an open door to your spirit. You don't owe constant access to your time. You are not a machine. You are a vessel. And you were created to operate in power, not depletion. So guard your light like it's sacred, because it is. Let your results speak. There's a point where you stop trying to convince people, and you just go quiet and build. You stop posting every move. You stop explaining your plan. You stop trying to prove your worth to people who wouldn't recognize greatness if it sat in their lap. And instead, you let your results speak. Because the loudest thing in the room is not the one doing all the talking. It's the one doing all the winning. It's the one showing up every day with consistency, humility, and fire. That's who gets remembered, not the talkers, not the critics, the builders. You don't need applause for the blueprint. You don't need validation for the grind. You need focus. You need to be so wrapped up in purpose that you forget to check who's watching. Because when you really lock in, you stop looking for permission. You start producing outcomes. Everybody's got opinions. Most of them don't matter. Opinions don't build legacies, execution does. And when your execution is strong, you don't have to raise your voice. You don't have to respond to doubters. You don't even have to announce the comeback. Your results will walk in the room first. You ever notice how real winners don't brag? That's because their life does the talking. They don't argue on social media. They don't debate with people going nowhere. They just move in silence, in purpose, in power, because the outcome is already proving what words never could. You've got to get addicted to the results, not the attention, not the praise, not the noise. The results, that's what separates amateurs from legends. Amateurs need eyes on them to perform. Legends perform whether anyone's watching or not, because they know excellence is a personal standard, not a public show. Let your discipline speak. Let your bank account speak. Let your health speak. Let your peace speak. Let your upgraded circle speak. That's the language of transformation. That's how you announce that you've evolved. By not saying a word and letting your life be the loudest thing about you. The moment you start speaking less and producing more, everything changes. You stop attracting drama and start attracting respect. You stop chasing recognition and start walking in destiny, because real power doesn't beg, it builds. You don't have to clap back. You don't have to argue with people who have never done what you're doing. If they haven't walked your road, they don't get to critique your journey. Let them talk. Let them laugh. Let them doubt, and then let them watch when your time comes, and it will. They'll try to act like they believed the whole time. They'll try to stand next to what they used to talk down on. Don't even get mad. That's what results do. They make even your enemies respect you, even if it kills their pride to admit it. Let your sacrifice speak. Let your 5 a.m. mornings and your midnight hustle say what your mouth never will. Let every no you said to distractions turn into a yes from destiny. Because when you finally arrive, you'll know it was worth every silent season you endured. When your results start speaking, the people who ignored you will start quoting you. The ones who dismissed your vision will try to study your formula, but they won't be able to copy it because they never paid the price in private to earn what you've built in the dark. So hold your tongue, hold your focus, and hold your standard. You don't need a debate. You need discipline. You don't need a reaction. You need results. And when they finally see it, they won't be able to deny it. Because results shut mouths louder than arguments ever could. Your silence wasn't weakness. It was strategy. Your grind wasn't invisible. It was intentional. And now, without ever raising your voice, without ever proving your point, you've already won. Because the scoreboard don't lie. The outcome don't bluff. And your results, they've been speaking the whole time. Focus on yourself and stay silent at some point in life. You stop chasing noise and start chasing peace. You stop performing for people and start performing for purpose. You stop explaining yourself to those who never intended to understand, and you start respecting the one voice that truly matters. Your own. Focusing on yourself isn't selfish. It's survival. It's not arrogance. It's alignment. And staying silent doesn't mean you're weak. It means you've leveled up beyond the need for applause. You're not in competition. You're in construction. And what you're building requires solitude, focus, and unwavering belief. The world will always have something to say. Let them talk. Let them speculate. Let them doubt. You just keep showing up. Keep working in the shadows. Keep sharpening your craft, because the noise can't touch the calling, and opinions don't delay what's already been promised. You were never called to be common. That's why your path is different. That's why your discipline has to be tighter. Your silence isn't you giving up. It's you tuning out everything that doesn't line up with your vision. Real growth gets quiet. Real success don't beg for attention. It earns it. So protect your peace. Guard your energy. Let faith carry you when sight fails. And most of all, trust the process. You're not behind. You're not late. You're being molded, refined, positioned. And when the time comes, you won't have to say a word. Your life will do the talking. This is your season of focus, of boundaries, of silent moves and loud results. Stay locked in, stay patient, stay real, and when they ask how you did it, you can just smile and say, I focused on myself, and I stayed silent.